All right, hey, welcome back. I have another Masters match for you today. This was the week 15 match. There are 20 weeks in this season. And as always with Masters, you're playing for points. So on this day, I was playing against my friend Adam here, and you lag to see if you choose the game or the break. And if I ever win the lag, I choose the break. I like to have control of the table. And typically my opponent will choose 8-ball. I mentioned this in other videos too. Players like to choose 8-ball because usually, you feel like you're going to slow the game down a little bit. It's going to be a bit more strategic. In my case, I love to play 8-ball, so that's not going to bother me at all. I think some players, especially maybe higher skill level players, might prefer to go with 9-ball because it has the match go quicker, kind of get things done quicker, play a bit more aggressive. But I'm never going to mind playing 8-ball to start off. So this was my second match of the day, and just had some captaining stuff coming up here. One of my teammates came up, so it's always kind of coordinating things and who's playing whom and where do we go from here kind of thing. But I'm gonna start with the break. I'm curious to see where I go. I don't remember all of the specifics of this match because it's been a couple weeks now, but looks like I'm going head ball. And the goal is get that little pop, leave yourself in the center of the table. Good cue ball. Drifted a little bit, but good cue ball there. And good spread. So one stripe down. And in APA, it's take what you make. If you make at least one of each, it's open. You have your choice. But in this case, I am locked into stripes. And it looks pretty good from here. I do have the edge on the 11 ball, and making that you can drift out for the 15. From there, you're just sort of working your way down table towards the 14, 13, and the 8. That's sort of the key location to get on the 8 ball. One of those balls will leave you on the 8. That time, it's interesting. I decided to not try to hold that cue ball. I wanted to maybe let the stroke out. Might have thought that I was going to be able to go back and forth. Got my choice here, so there is a cut available on the 15, but I don't love that back cut here. It's thin, and you're bridging over the 9. So we're going to be looking at the 10, and then either have the back cut on the 15 or play up for the 13. Just looking at my line that would give me the option between the 15 and the 13. Sometimes early in the rack and 8-ball, you might have to play into larger position windows that have multiple options. So a bit of a drag stroke there to kind of skid through almost. And I did leave myself the 13. The angle on the 9's a little awkward here. The 9's very playable, and the cue ball could bounce into the rail and back out, but it might feel a little too risky here. And especially going from the 9 to the 15, then you'd have to think about the 15 getting back around for the 13, whereas right now, I've got the position on the 13, might as well make use of it. Probably could have used a little bit more draw on that one, let up on that stroke, just a hair, but we're okay on the 14 here. You can use draw to pull between, yeah, looking at that line there, pull between the 8 and the 3. You could even play into the 8 and just graze it slightly. You don't want to move it too much. You wouldn't want to get blocked by the 1 ball down here. Just kind of float up, and you can get above the 9 for the 9 or the 15. This is looking okay. By the way, do the YouTube stuff. Thanks for being here. The subscribers help a lot. We just hit 500, by the way, so thanks to everybody who has been here, who's checked me out, and stuck with the channel. I know who you are, you consistent commenters, so it's always great to see those comments and talk about the game with you guys. And for those of you who might have been watching and not subscribed yet, I do encourage you to subscribe. Um, not for stuff like that, not for scratches. But yeah, the subscriptions help the channel a lot, and reaching those different tiers is going to really just help us grow and get more of us in here so we can all enjoy the game together. The idea with that 15 ball, and I think I just didn't quite have enough of an angle to make use of it, would have been to come off the 15 like this and back around for the 9. But I think I mishit it slightly, just didn't really hit the side of the pocket that I needed to. And this is a tough bet where you, in 8-ball especially, if you're just trying to get out all the time, but not getting out, you're either hooking yourself or opening up the table by getting all your balls out of the way and then scratching, you're going to get burned for that. So Adam's got a really, really good opportunity here and uses ball in hand to pick off one of the balls in the center of the table, which I like. I like that decision. Maybe overhit that one slightly, but he's still okay. He's got a little bit of an angle to work with on the 1. He's just got to pick his window for where he wants to end up next. Looks like a high ball here. Yep, decided to roll through. Maybe underhit that one too. He's below the 7. He's got a line on the 7 in the top left corner. But like I said, still first game between us in this match. And he could be okay. Hard to tell if the 6 is blocked. I do think he's still got it. Worst case, the 6 could play a billiard off the 5 if you really wanted to. The 4 obviously goes positions a little trickier. You have to work with some draw. He's open bridging, though. He's not. He doesn't have to shoot around the 6. Yeah, so he tried to draw back up for the 5 or the 6, which is a good choice. I like the choice of playing the 4. The 4 would have made a really nice key ball, because if you make that, you're right on the 8. But I think the 9 drew into a position where it made things a little complicated. So here, I'm in a tough spot. The cross side bank would go, but then the cue ball either comes into the 5 or around the 5, and then you have a lot of work to do to try to get the cue ball back on the 8. Don't love that. Cross corner, a reverse bank could go, but you're turning the cue ball loose either with draw or with follow to come back down the table. So I opt for a safety. I remember how this one felt. Yeah, pretty well played there. So good speed. I do block the easiest shot. I'm sorry for that line. I do block the easiest shot he would have had, which would have been on the 4. The speed was really good because you've got a window behind the 8-ball that ends up blocking them off. That one's well played. I'm settling into the speed of the table. This is my second match of the day that I had played on the same table, so I had a pretty good feel for it by this point. I think he's probably going to grab a jump cue for this one. I certainly would. I would look at the jump here. There's a couple 1-rail or 2-rail kick options, but I trust my jump. And he's got plenty of room to work with, not only to get over the 8-ball, but if he chooses the 4-ball and gets over the 8, he, might get that second bounce. Yeah, plenty of room to make a good jump happen here. You just have to trust your hit, make sure you're digging down into it enough. But you don't want to dig so much that you unintentionally draw off the 4. I think we're just waiting for the other player here on this side of the table. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is a good pool room, but it's kind of congested. Pretty full most of the time. Doesn't look like he's digging enough to get over the 8. Yeah, the line was good. The aim was good, but just wasn't digging down quite enough. Those are worth practicing, guys. If you have a jump cue, or if you know someone who does, who would let you borrow theirs to practice. There's lots of videos out there. If there's interest here on my channel, I would be happy to do jump cue tutorial, jump shot tutorial. There's different ways to hit. There's different techniques. And just getting the basics down to where you can get over a ball to make a good hit, that's going to improve your game dramatically, right? take it from a two-dimensional game to a three-dimensional game, stuff's going to start to change for you. So a good smooth draw off that 9 to get down below the 8, open up the top left corner pocket. Okay, that one goes down. Game 1 for me. Sticking with the head ball break. I do like the action and the spread that I got off that last one. No hop that time. And lost the cue ball. Yeah, so mishit that one. So a couple things went wrong with that break shot. Came up dry, obviously, so Adam gets to come to the table with some options. Opens with a combo here. The 1's going to dress up for you. The 6 is going to sit inside. The 7's there. You could even cut the 2. So the solids are looking really nice in this rack. And it even looks like if you left the 3 for your key ball, that takes you right to the 8. So I like the choice here to go with solids. Got a little touchy behind that 12 ball. The roll off the 12 helped. Not sure if I like the 7 ball as the choice. That might have been a better choice to get on the 3 later. But this can still work. Rolled through that one a bit. Still has the cut on the 2. 6 is backing him up. The 3's backing him up. So again, pretty open layout. The only thing I wouldn't do is take the 3 early. So he's looking at the 2. He can either hold it for the 6 in the side or let it roll down for the 5. Tried to hold it too much, probably. I'd be a little too worried about staying there for the 6. So I'm looking at in order to deal with the 15, my window is somewhere up in here to be able to cut it. Be tricky to get there. The 12 or the 9 could take you there. So if the cue ball ends up down here, you'd have a way of getting onto the 15 without playing a breakout. I do have a good line on the 10, which is nice to have a free, not a free, but at least a simpler opening shot. The 11 goes, the 13 does not go as it lies. So I have to deal with that. High inside there. So driving into this rail, whereas it would normally want to come out this way, the inside English counteracts that angle as it comes straight out. I was playing for that window that I mentioned that I wanted to be sort of in here. And the 12 can get me there, I believe. So what I'm trying to do is address the 15 right away. Get good on the 9 ball to float up to get on the 15. Nice, that looks pretty good. Now I come back again, looking at where I'm going to hit on the rail to kind of lead into the 15. So really anywhere along here. Yeah, I'd like to be in this window. That's what I was looking at before. If you underplay it, if you end up above it, you at least still have a cut available on the 15. You obviously don't want to overplay it and get behind the 2. So I let up on that a bit. Maybe just got scared of overplaying it. Yeah. Kind of pointing along the rail to show where I wanted it to be. But we're okay. The 15 still goes. It's a little touchy with the 2. You know the cue ball's going to glance off it. I did still have the shot on the 14 open. Could have taken that, but I'm committing to the 15. Clear that out, and then you'll... Nice. Should end up with 14 open. Don't have the back cut on the 11. tricky though, because if the 14 is available here, I'm looking at how it's going to spread out the 2 and the 8, where they're going to end up. If it is available, you have to make sure that the cue ball is going to roll into a place where you get the 13 or the 11. So let's see how this ends up. I don't remember. I don't remember what I end up going with here, but I do seem to remember that the cut on the 14 was there. We just kind of roll through. I will say the table was playing pretty true. There are some tables in this pool room that don't roll too great, especially up in the front room, but this one was rolling fine. So you can trust a slow roll on these. Didn't want to trust the slow roll. Oh yeah, see the 13 came off the rail and then back sitting onto the 11. The 11 would have opened up, but the 13 came back a little too far. So now I have to consider a safety. Video angle kind of makes it look like a cross corner bank combination might be on. Hit into the 11 and have the 13 come back this way. But don't love it. That played pretty well. The intention was to really bury him between the 11 and the 13. But this worked out well. I have him, he's got an open shot at the 5. Maybe resafe me. And like tuck me in here, right? That'd be my first instinct, I think, to come off the 5 and leave me behind the 2. You could go aggressive and try to bank the 5, cross corner, bring it back down here to block the pocket. Yeah, I like that. I like what he tried. You could jump at these. You can jump over the 2 and come back up underneath. I can shoot straight between the 2 and the 5, and then you get into either one of those. Long rail bank doesn't look any good to me. The 6 is in the way, or you'd have to do a lot of work to spin around the 6 and the 3, or go 2 rails, 2 or 3 rails, something like that. So you put me in a pretty good spot here, but the option that I selected was to 1 rail kick into them and leave him down table. Got a bit too much out of that. Clustered up the 8 ball pretty good, though. That's a mess. I think the hope was to play into this ball. You got to make sure you drive something to a rail after contact, though, so I like how the 13 worked out. Still feels pretty locked up. Good safety option here. Create distance, try to create a wall. Hard to tell if I have a line on the 13 between the 6 and the 3. Doesn't appear that I do. So this might be another 1 rail kick. Down this way again into the lower side of the pack. That's what I look at. And I have to decide which part of this ball I want to hit. Ideally, you come off the top side of it as we're looking at it. If you come off the lower side of it, from the rail lower side, the cue ball is going to come back out and very likely to sell out a shot. If you come off the inside of it, you're going to make your contact, a ball will be driven to a rail, and there's a pretty good chance 13 moves up, cue ball stays down here somewhere. So that's speed control. At that point, make sure that you end up where you want to be. Don't overhit it. So trusting a roll on the table again. But like I said, this one was playing pretty true. Not super slow, I guess. Nice, so pretty full hit on that one. Worked out well. So that was well aimed. Speed was well judged. Maybe moved the 13 a little farther than I would have liked, but big deal. We're still in good shape here. Nothing easy for my buddy Adam here. He doesn't have look at the 2 or the 5. Obviously, he's got open access to the 3, but nowhere to go with it. I think a lot of players would try to resafe, but now that the 13 is pushed out and it has the side pocket available, anywhere up here is no good for safe, leaving the cue ball up there. So it's getting tougher and tougher for him. Every shot in this exchange. It's a very chess match style safety play right now, which I love that stuff. Oh, he went aggressive. 3 in the side. Yeah, probably his best choice, honestly. And I've got a look. Man, how nice would it have been if the cue ball ended up above the 13 enough that I could just roll down to get behind this guy. But I don't quite have the angle. A bit of a back cut to where the cue ball is going to be driven towards the side pocket. It's thin, but it will cut in the side. It sends the cue ball off this way. And that's what I'm looking at. If I cut the 13 and leave the cue ball down there somewhere, do I have any options? I think that's the 12. On the 12, or do I shape the 12 for a defensive purpose? Do I end up down here and then like stick them behind the 8 or something? If I look at the thin side of the 13 for this cut, drift down, not only a super thin cut, but speed control to leave the cue ball where we want to be. It's touchy. Ugh. Yeah, I tried to hold it too much and didn't give the 13 enough. Didn't get shape. So misjudged it at the end of the day. I just misjudged that one. And he's got some chances here. The 8's no good. He's got work to do to get on the 8, but nicely played there. Drifts up. He's got 3, the 2, or the 5. Any of those would work. I might be tempted in his position. I might be tempted to play the 5 here. I know the 3 is your duck, but if you play the 5, 5 goes, cue ball comes off here, do you get your breakout? Right? And then you play for the 3 or the 2 after that. Or you can break it out off the 3. Is that what he does? Oh, he tried it. Oh my goodness. That's a really good try. Yeah, you got to go for that breakout early. I love that decision by Adam to try to bust out the 3 early instead of taking the duck and then what? Play the 2, play the 5, and then try to get around the 8 or the breakout from there. Take care of your problems early. So good call. He's got to clutch up. He's got to make this 2 ball. Another chance to break it out, though, incidentally. Oh, man, maybe focused a little too much on the breakout. The 2 ball goes, though, which in this format does count. And he's got the cut on the 5 that takes you the guaranteed position for the 8. So yeah, the 2 cooperates, flukes in. And if he thin cuts the 5 and makes it, cue ball comes back and forth. So 5 goes here. Cue ball bounces back and forth, regardless of what kind of speed you put on it. As long as you don't spin it to scratch it in the side. But there's no need to spin here. Nice and thin, straight through. Oh, he went for the bank. I guess he liked the bank better than the cut because of the cue ball shape. Or maybe he just felt like it lined up more naturally. Either way, you know, the bank was well played. And he still got a cut on the 8. So another clutch up situation here. Just put this one down. It goes in. Nice. A little bit of a hand wave there. Jump the gun a bit on the break. But yeah, a little bit of a hand wave just to acknowledge, I think that, you know, the 2 ball was a fluke, but maybe some karma comes back, scratch on the break. It's such a weird game sometimes. There's just those swings. All right, so let's see here. That one of each. Hard to see the tray, but it's like 5 solids on the table, so 2 solids and 1 stripe. I do have ball in hand, but it's behind the string, so it's in the kitchen after the break. Layout's not bad either way. I think maybe favor stripes a little bit. You know that The 9 is blocking the 10, so you'd have to make the 9 to get it out of the way and then get back up above the 10 later. So play the 9, 12, and then the 10, pattern-wise. The 2 goes over here, right? But there's nothing really to get you shape on the 2 ball. So it looks like I opt for the 15 just as a secured opening shot, claim the suit, drift up, good speed control there. I know that the 9-10 is the crux here. I don't quite have the angle that I wanted on the 13. I think I wanted to try to get onto the 9 right away. I know the 14 takes me there, though. A bit of a roll, though. I mean, I could have hooked myself behind the 12 on that one. So I'd friendly nudge from the 12. Play the 14, drift over for the 9, 9 to the 12, 12 to the 10 might be the thinking. Workable. So 9 still goes. We're right on the 12. That's fine. But I didn't get straight on the 9 ball. So now I have to think about coming into the rail and maybe back over for the 12 and then get straight on the 12 to roll up for the 10. It's tough. It's getting harder and harder now based on the pattern I selected. So slide back over, but came up too far. Now the back cut. Back cut on the 12 sends us down below the 10. So I had looked at this before. I didn't want to have to do this, but getting down below the 10, you could theoretically play a billiard. So shoot the 10 off the 5. You'll see what I try to do. Good smooth stroke there. Give myself enough room to work with. So getting under the 10, we're having to shoot the 10 into the 5, and then we'll be playing the billiard of the 10 off the 5. The shape should be pretty good here too, because the cue ball is naturally going to want to cooperate and stay here for the 8. Didn't miss it by much, but the shape got sloppy too. Came too thin into the 5 ball. I needed to hit the 5 ball a little fuller to have the angle cooperate. But this is another one, guys. I mean, I'm at this point in my game where I'm trying to just get out all the time. And that's cool, but if it doesn't go that way, you just end up opening up the table for your opponent. It was a very runnable rack, though, in my defense. I think the choice to go aggressive and just try to get out made sense with stripes in this case. So he's looking pretty good here. He's just got to solve the 4. Playing down beneath it is tough. Getting down on this side of the table is tough. So he might just opt to get above it and run it down the rail into the upper right. A little bit of a nudge from the 3 ball. Could have been painful. Could have been a scratch. But yeah, I think trying to get down on this side of the 4 to play it here is challenging, so you might just try to play along this rail and take the longer shot. He was going for it. Nice. Played right into the 10 ball. That's well played. Did get on the 4. You could hold this, end up out here for the 3. Right. He's got shape on the 3. It's a back cut, kind of aggressive back cut, but it will go. You can play with draw and spin to whip the cue ball back. Rolling through this can be a little risky. Obviously, depending how you cut this, the scratch is on. Yeah, he really flirted with that corner pocket. Got around there, though. A little nudge from the 10, and he's got enough room to work with to pocket the 8. Bit of a kind of jab down and puts it away. I'm up another game. Missed the break shot on this rack, I guess, but jumping into this next game here. Looks like he's lining up. The 1 might go clean, or he's lining up the combo. Yeah, combo. Nice. Almost scratched. Yeah, I think just a recording piece was missing from this game. But this would be good, really good for him if he puts this game away. He's going to be up 3-1. One more game of 8-ball. So that was well judged. Played it into the side, and he knew that he was going to be rolling through into here. And window for the 6 is pretty small. Not much to do with the 4 either, but rolled through too much. So I think he's looking around to see if any combos line up. The 6 cuts up here. That's playable. At this point, a safety is pretty challenging. It's the problem, you know, you open up the rack so much and then your safety options are limited. See where he goes. I think he tries to cut the 6. Yeah, he tried. So cut it too thin and allowed for the scratch there. So I gotta catch a gear. Get some more games on the string. Immediately he made my 9-ball problem, so push the 6 onto it. The 13's not great, but the 11 gets you there and the 14 could get you there. So you at least have 2 balls that can get you onto the 13. Want to clear out the 9, so the temptation would be to play the 12 and force follow into it. You could theoretically use the cue ball here, play the 12 here, and try to draw into them. And I know that if I hit the 6 in the right way, it can be driven into the 9 and push the 9 towards the pocket. 11 would back me up if I don't get shape on the 9. Yeah, there you go. Wouldn't necessarily want to make the 9 because you want that ball to get you back down table. But in this case, the 14 and the 15 were backing me up because I overplayed that a bit, went down a bit farther than I thought I would. But that works out fine. You can play the 9 here. You can play the 15. You could even cut the 15 and try to break out the 13 if you wanted to get a little spicy. No need to break it out, really. 14 puts you on the 13 now. Oh, I punched up table. Yeah, watching the game now, I'm really wanting the 13 to be addressed. But I guess being at the table, I wasn't too worried about it. Thin the 9-ball in and float back down table. Decided to use the second rail to open it up. I like that. I've been incorporating that more and more into my game instead of what I said before, which is thinning the 9 and trying to just gauge the angle and the speed. Play it outside a little bit and use the second rail to drive you into the line of the next shot. This 11 ball here. And you can float down for the 15, try to get on the 13 after that, or, which I think I like this better, using the 11 to get on the 13 now. And just go to double check where I want to be. Or play to hit them, maybe. At the bottom side of the 13? Maybe that's what I'm lining up. I might not have the right angle to hold it. Didn't hit them at all. Okay, mishit that one. $15 might not go past the 13 into the top left. Look at a safety. I don't believe the 13 goes in the side past the 8. Maybe it does, and is that what I'm shooting at right now? Nope, played safe. Wanted to roll him onto the 13. The spot got involved, kind of rocked around on the spot a little bit. And he's got an edge on the 4. So he can definitely just thin off the 4. Send me up table, create distance. It's going to open up the 13 if he does that. He's looking at the back cut on the 4. I think some players might be tempted to try to put the 4 into this pile, cluster that up. He's jacking up on it. Like, spin this in? Not sure. Oh, he almost scratched. Risky. Oh, and he hooks me behind the 6. Ouch. I'm not sure. Maybe it looked like the 4 would go. I'll have to ask him about that one. Or Adam, if you're watching, let me know what you're trying on that. Maybe the 4 had enough room to go and he was thinking about shape on the 6. I'm in a tough spot now. You have to make a good hit. He doesn't have a guaranteed out because the shape from the 6 to the 4 can be a little touchy. If you get over here, imagine he's got the ball in hand. He does get from the 6 to the 4. You make the 4, and then you could make the 8 inside, potentially. Meanwhile, I have to figure out the kick. And the 1-rail kick is on for the 13. So I can make a good hit on that, at least. I think I was looking at maybe 2 or 3 rail options as well. I don't know if I have enough of a line around the 6 to consider the 2 rail. No, we're going 1 rail. There's a good chance to make this. As long as your line's accurate. Oh, man. So I hit it too... I think I hit it too firm. Tightened up the angle a little too much. Didn't miss it by that wide of a margin, but tightened it up too much. So a bit of a slower shot would let that angle open up a bit. He was just confirming that it's ball in hand, which I think is good practice. Even if it's obvious, you just check with your opponent, make sure that you get their confirmation. I'm not in love with starting with the 4 ball here. Like I said, I think 6, 4, 8 would be the way to go. Oh, is he going to get hooked? Oh, no. He's got an easy enough kick at the 6, at least to get a good hit. Kicks it, but does not get a rail after contact. Tough one, yeah. Even though the shape from the 6 to the 4 is a little tricky, it just seemed like a safer pattern to me. So I've got ball in hand. The 15 would go over there, but I don't want to risk a bad hit. I come over to this side to look at a potential safety or even a 2-way shot. Play the 15. If you make it in the side, you've got the 13. If you don't make it, you're hooking him behind the 15 and the 8. But I had enough room to make the 15, so I think as I was getting down, I just decided to commit to making it. Which is not good practice, by the way, guys. Commit to your plan while you're standing up. Don't be changing your plan while you're down on the shot. So I got away with this one. I mean, I missed that 13 ball, gave him ball in hand. But we're going to make a good out here. Very thin shot on the 15 into the side. Smooth roll through on the 13. And good shape on the 8, same side as the 15. This one down, that'll tie it up. Okay. 2-2, 1 game of 8-ball left. Got a good game going. Some good back and forth. Good strategy stuff too, right? Good kind of defensive play. Better cue ball that time. Came a bit too high. But good hop, good control, good spread. So looks like I made 2 stripes and a solid. Yeah. And the solids just line up a little better here. Clear out that cluster. You've got the 6 or the 3 next. I like the 3. Stepping up my tempo a little bit. Do you see that? Not really looking at the shape. Wanted to punch down for the 6. Didn't quite get there. But we're okay. Still got the 1. 10 ball could be a stopper. Still have the 6. Cut the 6 thin. Looks like I'm playing with inside to try to slow it down. Nice. That worked out really great. So I cheated the pocket here. I played the 6 into that side. And the inside English kind of killed the cue ball on the rail. So we're looking okay here. I don't have much of an angle to work with on the 1 because you would want to draw out. Yeah, that's my line. You want to draw out to where you can be on the 5 and roll through for the 4. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I looked at where I wanted to be, rushed it and overhit it. Got way more out of that ball than I needed to. Overcompensated, I guess, for not having as much of an angle as would have been ideal. But, I mean, we're still okay. Still have an open shot on the 5. This might play you into the 4. Oh, I missed that 5 ball. Yeah, that's frustrating. That could have been a break and run. A pretty good looking break and run, though. The pattern was okay until I overhit that 1 ball. All right, so he's coming in. He's got a long shot on the 11. These are tough. See, everybody miss these. Tough one. He does not sell out the 4 ball, but I do have a cut on the 5 and kind of half ball cut. And I'm looking at my line kind of floating back up to where I would want to be on the 4, really anywhere. So yeah, your cut is going to be like in here. So anywhere in there is going to be fine to work with the 4 ball. So bear down, stay still, stay low, make this cut on the 5. And from there, it's just judging the speed. Like I said, I have a pretty good sense of the speed of the table by this point. So good touch. Good cut. Little friendly nudge from the 8 on the way over. Just high 5. And you can hold this ball, or you can, if you wanted to, I guess, play into the 8. I like holding it. There's really no reason to mess around with going past it. Yep, easy enough. Something would have to go terribly wrong for you to get hooked behind the 10 on that one. But pretty clean game. Just, I missed that position. Wow, I used all the pocket on that one, jeez. And we're on to 9 ball. Puts me up 3-2. Good hop, but man, I really missed the... Oh my gosh. Got kicked all over the place. I missed my mark on the 1 ball big time. I think there he was asking me about my approach to the break, to the hop and stay in center table. But yeah, slightly missed my mark on the 1 ball hit, and then I got kicked around like crazy. He gets right down on this like he's got an idea about where he wants to be on the 2. Gets down below it. It's going to have some options. It'll go in the corner. You could cut it in the side. I wonder if he was playing for that, if he wanted to get down below the 2, or if he was cutting the 1 and was just going to accept a combo on the 6. Well played. You wouldn't think it would roll that much, but he got a lot out of that cue ball. Safety's tough from here. I think you just try this shot, especially on a valley table with big pockets. Just thin this down the rail. Yeah, so undercut it. Too much of the 5-ball. And I've got a nice open layout. This should feel pretty good coming into 9-ball. Good open table. And you're going 2 rails out. So you cut the 5. Cue ball comes out here into line for the 6. Way overplayed that. Oh my goodness. Okay. You have so much table to work with. Yeah, too thin, too fast. So much for having the speed figured out, right? We're still, I mean, it's still okay, right? Like, you can still cut the 6-ball. You could play a safe if you wanted to, but I would stay aggressive here. Just cut this in. Or just shoot it into the rail. Come on. All right, nothing's easy. I didn't sell anything out at least, but I missed that big time. I mean, I shot that. That was up here. Maybe too worried about the shape. Wanted to give the cue ball enough energy to come back over for the 7. Kind of a weird miss, though. Yeah, he's in a tough spot. Scratches on if you don't cut the 6 properly. Don't know if the back cut is on to play it in the top right where the 7 is. I think that was the proper pocket for it. He also does not sell out anything here. Reverse bank would go. Maybe try for a 2-way, bank it here, and then the cue ball stays down table here. I'm playing thin off the 6. I'm just going to split the distance here. Nice. I like that option. You get that clean line between the cue ball, the object ball, and the blocker. Oh, he gets right down on this one. Not wasting any time. I might have taken a second to think about this. Gets the hit. He almost makes it too. Pretty good chance of making that one. Okay. Pretty open table again. I remember this shot. I know that you float around 2 rails, you get back up above the 7, or you can just hammer it. Yeah, weird. 2 in a row. 2 offensive shots in a row, or just wildly overplayed it. The cut's still on. If you cut it bad, the scratch is on. The long rail bank doesn't make sense because of the 8. There's not an easy option for defense. You can cut it here, like thinning it and trying to come back out. I go with the back cut, which is fine, but overplayed this one again. If anything, on that one, I think if I had thought about that a little more, I know that your line is going to be pretty nice. Oh, I just get right down on the reverse bank here. Really nothing to think about, I guess. You're not going to play safe. Cooperate. Okay, that one went. And speed's still a little weird. This 9 goes down the rail. It was not frozen on the rail. Doesn't look like it's frozen on the rail. The bank is on. Yeah, I go to check. I don't think it's frozen on the rail. So it's just edge to edge type cut. Rail shot, run it down the rail. Or you just go for the bank. Maybe 2-way if you miss the bank. If you miss high on the bank, you leave him in the center of the table. Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah, I don't know. Weird shot on the 7. Weird shot on the 6 to get on the 7, so overplayed that. Good shot on the 8. The reverse bank on the 8 was fine, but not with the right speed to get on the 9. So he goes long probably. Yeah, I think a lot of players would go long rail bank on that. Doesn't scratch. Didn't that look like a scratch at first? So this one's missable, right? We've all seen this one. Certainly no gimme. Just bear down, stay still. Let's watch my head, see if I move. No, I stayed down. Took advantage of the rail. Slid that one in. Puts me up 4-2. Pretty good cue ball. Little hop. Definitely was drifting down here towards the low rail. But all right, this one's super cool. I'm actually gonna pause the video. So take a look at this layout and tell me, or write a comment now, which would be cool to put a comment in before you see what I do. Think about what you would do here. Would you go for the cut? Because the 1's makeable, but then what, right? Cue ball's gonna maybe bounce back and forth a little bit, or you're gonna have to take the extreme back cut on the 2 ball. We all see this, right? I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, noticed 3-9 lines up. Not bad. It's missable, but it's there. Bit of a cut on the 3 right into the 9. So that's the cut on the 1. Maybe not the best. Do you play safe? You come off a little thicker on the 1, take the cue ball back down table, leave the 1 up here somewhere. I like that. Conservative play. But then maybe you get your ball in hand. Maybe you can get from the 1 to the 2 a little easier. That could work out. Do you try the bank? So I think a lot of players might come up and look at this line. It's like, hey, that lays pretty natural. I like that bank. The other thing that you might notice about the bank is that the cue ball is going to want to come down table towards the 2. So think about that. Drop a comment if you want. But this was a super cool situation. I remember coming into this and seeing the opportunity for this bank shot and where the cue ball was going to end up to get around the 2 to where the 2's makeable. Low right. Center pocket. Pink, little nudge on the 3. Oh, and a perfect line on the 2. How good do those feel, guys? I was like smiling to myself. I don't usually let that stuff come out when I'm at the table, but that is the pleasures of small motion kind of thing, the book that I was talking about. How good does that feel when stuff just works? When you come up with kind of a kooky plan and it just goes exactly according to that plan. That's why we play. That stuff feels super good. Puts me up 5-2. Losing my cue ball a bit. I'm getting the hop, but it's been pretty consistently off the right side of the rack. I don't remember if that was happening in my next match or not. We'll have to keep an eye on that in this next video. See if I made a correction. Don't have a good look at the 1. Push shot is available in Masters. And conventional wisdom tells you that you never want to push to an offensive option. The 1 is in a touchy spot, but it is playable. You have to know how to hit this ball to use the point. But the 1 ball is playable here. And I'm basically tempting him to do the silly thing, which is play the 1 poorly and scratch, because I would love to get ball in hand. But there's not a great defensive option here, so I'm basically daring him to play offense. He's taking it. Oh. He's going to get away with it too, a little jelly roll. Might have an edge on the 1. If anything, he played that conservatively, which is smart. He played it in a way that if I miss, I know I'm not going to scratch. You don't want to be giving up ball in hand. So I've got a 1 rail kick. These are interesting because if you know how to line these up, if you know how to aim these, do you decide to come into the rail first? Do you decide to come into the ball a bit more? Do you play to make this? I think in this case you do, especially up 5-2. Play to make this ball and think about your shape, right? You come into the rail, boop, cue ball's going to want to come back out. You're either above the 3 or you give it a little more pace and it kind of rolls around the 3. Ugh, yeah, see, I wanted to come into the rail first, probably because I was thinking about how the cue ball was going to come off the 1 to shape the 3. So after a push and safety exchange, or just kind of unintentional safety exchange, I'm giving up ball in hand anyway. After all that work, he gets ball in hand. So he lines up okay on the 1, but he chose to get above the 1 and kind of stroke through. Could definitely have gotten more out of that ball. Could have played the cut on the 1 too, instead of getting flat on it. But he's okay. Long straight in, straight-ish on the 4 again. So not ideal. But he's got enough room to work with on the 4 that he could get to the 5. And honestly, just kind of like a stun above the 8 would get you there. But yeah, he goes to roll through. Probably kind of how I would play it, but I think I would stay a little thicker on the 4 and try to come between the 6 and the 8. These are not a gimme. If you roll these in, they're more likely to go. If you shoot these in, stuff can go wrong. You're kind of queuing down on it too, over the pocket. Yeah, so overcut that. That's tough. We've got options here. Cuts thin on the 5. If you cut it as thin as possible, if you go to the left side of the pocket, you'll be guaranteed to stay above the 6. You can do a lot with this shot on the 5 ball. If you guys haven't really practiced this particular angle, definitely check it out. Going thick into it keeps you, kind of sends you down closer to the 6, right? Kind of opens up the angle like we saw. Going thin into the 5 keeps you up table. A pretty routine out. Roll forwards on that one. And you can draw back, snip draw back, or just roll through the 8 here. Don't need to complicate it. Use that rail straight through. Yeah, it was really just solving that 5, making sure to get a good line on the 6. Nice, and we're on the hill. Better break. You see that? Landed right here. Made a ball. Don't have a great look at the 1. We have enough of the 1, maybe even enough to make it. I don't remember what happens with the 1 ball here. I remember what happens after the 1 ball, though, and you guys are going to like this. So yeah, I'm looking at making the 1. I do think I can make it, but coming out and around, getting down here, anywhere in here would be workable. I know there's not a shot available on the 2, so it's going to end up being a safety. But let's see how this 1 ball cooperates. Oh, I had to use the 6. Okay, so I had to stay on the inside of the 6. I guess I couldn't get around the 6. Didn't have enough of the 1 to get around it. And quite a cluster down here, but now what we're looking at is defense option. So what I line up is push the 2 ball just enough to get it past the 9 and let the cue ball drift into the 3 using the 3 as a stopper. Just need to get a rail. No, I played it the other way. That's right. That's right. So I pushed the 3 ball out of the way and got just enough to line up a 2-9 combination on the backside, which in retrospect is pretty rough. I mean, he's got to make this hit. Oh, so thin. Yeah, super, super thin. Did not miss that one by much. But he knew giving up ball in hand on that 2-9 combination was as good as the game. So that does take me to 7. Remember to do the YouTube stuff. If you guys are still here by the end, thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with it. The watch time makes a big difference too. I don't know like how much everybody knows about YouTube analytics. I've been learning a lot about it, but it helps out on the back end to have that time going through on the videos and have people watch a lot of the videos. So if you're still here, you're a real one, and I appreciate you. So thanks for being here. Thanks for the comments, for supporting, for asking questions. We're all here to learn and get better together. It's been a ton of fun for me to engage with you guys in that way. And hitting 500 was a really nice milestone. So I'm looking forward to growing more and doing more live streams as well. So that was fun to do a live stream match. Obviously, I can't be doing commentary. I don't want to mic myself up and talk through the whole thing. But I think the idea would be do live stream, get you guys in there live so you can see it happening in real time, and then use that video to do commentary on it to break down what was happening while I was playing through that match. I'm basically pilot testing out what I'll be doing if my Masters team makes it to Vegas for the World Championships in the summer. That would be the approach. But yeah, as always, thanks again for being here. Love having you guys, love putting up these videos, and the next Masters match should be coming up again shortly, maybe in like a week or two. So we'll see you again for that one. Thanks, everybody.